Howdy y'all. So, got a good video here. Going to be doing hanging a axe handle on the Woodcraft 24, but we're also going to be talking just a little bit about the way that the axe is formed and balance of the metal on both sides. So let's go ahead and I'll point out the first few points here. So we'll get a lot of customers asking about, say, when they look down on their handle here, about the difference in thickness of metal on each side of the eye. So in this case, and I should have an axe out here to show you, but in this case you can kind of still see the outline of where the handle was. So that will give you an idea. So if you were looking down here on the handle, you would think, okay, here on the left side of the axe or the eye, we've actually got, you know, more metal versus this side. And you can see that outline of where the handle used to be. The compression of the wood as it is driven into the eye has actually allows the wood to swell outward, covering up the metal. So in this case, and I oftentimes I'll tell a customer, I'm like, if you look really close, you can a lot of times see the little bit of the wood swelling there. So this is a perfect example of that. And you can still see right here, or I did not cut it super duper close, that's still out hanging over the metal there. And so it really has, and on this side it would have even less, so it looked like it was even thicker. So this is has very little to do with the actual way that this head was forged or formed. I'll flip it over and you can see here just a little bit, you can see that where the wood is proud of the axe head here, that it flares out. I like to hang my axe handles that way because I feel like it gives them a little bit tighter fitment. But you will see a lot of brands do not. A lot of folks will also hang them and they'll just stand that flush. Nothing wrong with that either. This is just my personal preference, and that's probably how I'm going to replace this one. Something else to keep in mind though is that if you do have it proud here, on a lot of the brands, another customer concern is that when you put this wedge in here, you get a little bit of splitting, especially when you drive the metal wedge there. Maybe it'll split out quite a bit. That, once again, that's of no concern to me. It's really not an issue, especially if you're, say, using some wood glue on this wedge. But that's just something. On this particular one, it did not have this. That's a very nice fitment there. So we're just gonna go ahead and move on. I'm gonna go ahead, I cut this on a bandsaw, very smooth around the edge. And what I'm gonna try to do is just press it out from the top down to the bottom. So that'll be the easiest way if we can make that work. So moving on. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to press it out. This is my preferred method, using a good old H-frame press. All right, so as you can see, that beats drilling out and trying to tap out the other way. But what I'll go ahead and do, I always find it interesting when you press this out. So that was a pretty good finish, pretty good fit. Pull that out of there. And find it of interest to see the wedge. One of the big keys here is for your wedge not to bottom out. So got a good 3/8 inch right there to keep the wedge from bottoming out. So it was a good hang. You can see here, once again, like I was talking, that flare where the hickory was compressed, where it was proud. And that right there is the basic outline of a proper wedge application. So if you trim it smooth and you push out from the top, ideally that should go fairly smoothly, because ideally your taper on your handle, that's the way that it wants to come out. So we'll go ahead and get to putting the new handle on. What I'm going to do is I'm going to note where the bottom of my wedge will run into the bottom of the hole, and I'm going to mark that because I want to make sure that I don't bottom it out. A lot of times you can bottom it out and it will actually be tight for a while. but yeah, so that'll do. It'll bottom it out for a while, and it may even hold it tight, but over time as it vibrates, it will actually allow that to push possibly out on that wedge and loosen it up a little. So, all right, so let's go ahead and check some fitment here. So that is looking pretty close. Little small gaps here in the back. Sight down. I want it to be as tight as possible on the top. So I'm watching. This is going to bring a little bit of a peel out on the wood here. I think that's okay. I'm tempted to maybe sand off just a tiny bit. Let's go ahead. So I'm going to go ahead and pound that on. Just a little bit further. All right. Okay. Some folks will use epoxy. Some folks will use wood glue. I'm using Type-On 3. It's about my favorite wood glue. I'm hoping to, in the future, to do a video talking about basically not using any glue. Because if you don't use any glue, it will, in fact, you can use if you don't use any glue or a metal wedge, you can swap your handles. Some folks will laugh at what I just said, but it's okay. Going to get a little bit of peel on this, and I know that. I've angled my wedge just slightly, and I know I'm going to get a little peel to put these in, but that's okay with me. I'd rather have my wedge, want my wedge to, if anything, overshoot a little. So. So I'm going to call that. Remember when I marked that like if it was flush. That gives me a 1/4 inch up from the bottom of my wedge, or from the bottom of the slot in the handle. So that's plenty for me. So I'm going to go ahead and clean this and cut the top. All right, we've got our metal wedge and about 45-degree angle. So this peel, went ahead and got it cut off, as you saw, and when you flip an axe over, a lot of times you'll see those marks. That's exactly what it's from. I'm not worried about, got just a little bit of gap here. I know it was good and tight because that peel was there. It's not worry to me in the least. So this is just a very basic, quick overview. I'm hoping in the future to go ahead and do some videos on, like I said, the different handles, wedges, all that kind of thing. So there you go. New handle on a Woodcraft 24. So there is a finished handling of a Council Tool 24-inch Woodcraft axe. Check out our other videos if you want to see. I did a review on these, one of my favorite axes. Check out our website, like, subscribe, and we thank you for watching. God bless, and see you on the next video.